Hi everyone, this is video number 5. This is a video that is going to really focus on do files. This is the last video that is really just the introduction, getting to know Stata, learning how to use Stata, and then I promise in the next video we're going to get started on some descriptive statistics so you can actually start to see how Stata can be helpful in doing statistics. But I do want to take some time to talk about do files because do files are a very important part of statistics. If you click on do file editor, you're going to get a new do file window. Now, what a do file is it is a file where you can actually write the program or the syntax for the commands that you want Stata to run. And there's a number of ways you could do it. You could write the programming all in here, or you can do the commands in the command window, and then when you know that you have the right command, you can move it to a do file. Either way, though, having a do file to save your work is crucial. There's a couple of reasons for that. One is that as you start to think about doing your own research or supporting some of your professors in their research, you're going to have to really think about the idea of replicability, right? So research should be replicable. You should be able to replicate your research, and it's very difficult to do that if you don't have a record of all of the statistics that you ran. The other reason, though, is that sometimes your data set will change. Sometimes you realize that you had to clean up a certain variable or omit certain cases, or you might get new data to add on to your data set. And the last thing that you want to have to do is to run every single command over again. So in this class, in HED611, we are not going to be doing anything that is so complex that you couldn't replicate it pretty easily. But to give you an idea, I just want to open up, one or two do files that I have, and these are just homework do files. This is not even, real research. You can see all of these commands that I have. Everything that has blue is a command. All these commands are from one file. And so if I didn't have this do file and my data set changed, I would have to go back and basically figure out all these steps over again. Whereas if my data set changes, all I have to do is change the data set. This do file is programmed to open that data set, and it will just do all of the commands over again. So you can start to see how having a do file is something that can be very, very helpful. Also, just a heads up, if you take 696, which is the regression class next semester, with Dr. Jacquet, you will definitely need to use do files. And so I want to start to get you used to that. So let's go ahead and open up another do file. One of the things you'll notice is that when I opened up the other do file, some of the text was in green, some of it was in blue, some of it was in red, and then some of it was in black. Anything that is green is a comment. And comments are not read by the Stata command window. So it's a way for you to record what you did, why you did it, where you got certain data, how a certain variable was created. And it is a record for you, but then also for other people if you need to share your do file with somebody else. There are a few ways to do comments. One, you can see if you start the line with an asterisk, then everything after that for that line will be a comment. But then you'll see if I start a new line, it's not green anymore, right? Because that asterisk only makes a comment for that one line. Alternately, if it's easier for you, you can do 2 slashes, and that will do the same thing. Sometimes you might have multi-line comments, though, that you don't want to have to do the asterisk or the backslashes every line. And for that, you can do slash asterisk, and that way, everything that you type until you do asterisk slash will be a comment. Okay? So all of the green stuff, if I were to run this program, would show up in the output window, but it wouldn't actually be read as a command. So let's just do something really quickly. because I'm going to want you to do some do files later in the semester in Stata. And so you might do as a comment your name. Maybe this is going to be homework 5, and maybe the date that you put it, you uploaded it. So let's say it's going to be maybe 9/20/14. That is as a way for you to comment. Other comments that you might do is you might say dataset downloaded from Department of Education, so people know where you got a certain data set. You might write a comment that says the following variable was created using and the names of 2 other variables. There's a lot of reasons why you would use comments, and the more detailed your comments, the more useful your do file is going to be later. Now, that's the green. The blue is a command. Anything that the Stata do file editor recognizes as a valid Stata command is going to show up blue. So we only have a few commands at our disposal. So let's type a couple in here. Let's do sysuse auto. And you can see that the sysuse, which is the command, turned blue. Auto is the name of the data set. We also know describe, except I spelled that wrong. There we go. And describe is blue. Now you can see actually as soon as you hit D, it turns blue, because remember you can abbreviate describe all the way down to the letter D. But let's go ahead and type it out and describe. And so we're going to describe the entire data set. Now let's look at what we have in the actual command window. There's nothing. There's actually no output. I'm going to go ahead and clear just to make sure there's nothing in memory. And if we go back to this do file and we just click do, or it might say run on some computers on your PC, it's actually going to execute those commands. And so it did the command sysuse auto, which opened to the dataset, and then it did the command describe, which described all the variables in the dataset. You can also, let's say you only want to do one command in your do file because you're testing things out, you can just highlight one line, hit do or execute, and you can see it didn't reopen the dataset, it just did the line describe, which is what I wanted it to do. That's the long and the short of it with do files. One of the things that you will see is that I will be using do files to give you a homework problem sometimes. I will also use do files in class, so I'm not having to recreate the commands as we go. And you will eventually have to submit some of your homework with do files so that I can see that you're starting to think about how you can actually start to write the syntax for the commands in Stata into your do file. That's it for now. I'm not going to go into too much detail, but I wanted you to see what the do file did, and I will see you in class and also in video 6.